we go. So I'm going to attempt to get one of these on camera. I don't think this is going to be very easy actually, but I'm going to give it my best shot for you. So what I'm going to do some explanation and all that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to do the actual art. I'll probably do most of it in time lapse. Might do a little bit of it in real time so you can just see what I'm up to. But I'm going to give it a go. So here we go. Okay, so I've got a super rough sketch there. That's all I need really. Just generally see what my proportions are, all that kind of stuff. You can see where I've just sort of adjusted a sketch there at the bottom. Just I will jam it along the way with the fill just to make sure that I know what the proportions are and everything, but I've got it down. I pretty much know what the shape of it is. I've done it so many times by now. So I'm going to chuck some fill colour on it now, and let's see what we end up with. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my first fill layer on using this, what is it? Kind of a blue is that? It's a dark blue anyway, can't tell. It's a Molotov 127HS, as you can see. There you go. Now, if you look at that fill, you can see it's very ropey. There's lots of holes in it. It's very ratty. It's on a surface, a very smooth surface, so it's not adhering very well. The stuff on the cardboard is better, but it's still not great. In my experience, you can probably see that I've done that fill very quick. In my experience, it will take 3 fill layers before I am totally happy that looks good enough. So let's get another one in. Right, so I've got a second coat on and that is looking all right actually. It's looking okay. I would normally get a third one on, but I'm thinking maybe it doesn't need one actually. I don't know. So I'm looking at it, it's dark enough. There's enough coverage there. It ain't gonna be perfect. There's no point in doing it perfect. Who cares? Who cares? That's a good flow. It's one of my slogans, isn't it? What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna put some sort of cloud on there because we've got to get a background in next before an outline goes on. So I've now got to think about how I'm going to do that and what colour I'm going to use for that. I think I know what colour I'm going to use for it, and I'm going to dive in. So let's get a background on it now. Let's not do another fill. That's fine as a fill. That's fine. That's drying nicely. Looks as if it's drying nicely. Yeah, there's a few wet bits on it, but generally that's okay. That's fine. That's good enough for me. Let's get background in there. Okay, so as you can see, right, really important point to stress this. I am not looking for perfection at this stage. I'm looking to get paint on the surface in roughly the right place. The reason I'm stressing that is because I know a lot of you out there will be artists and you're interested in doing your own stuff. And the biggest stick that you have to beat yourself with is, Jesus, this looks shit. Now, if you get caught up in that now, you'll never get better as an artist. You've got to get used to the fact that it's going to be a mess for a little while. This is a mess at the moment. Look at how patchy that pink is. It's horrible. The blue is pretty much filled in now, but the pink is a mess. That's fine because I'm not into finishing it yet. It's going to be a purple outline on there. There's going to be a nice drop shadow behind the blue. It's all going to be tight. There's going to be an outline on there. It's all going to be nice and tight and filled in. But this is not time for detail. Right now, it's time for getting paint. Particularly this stage, it's about getting paint on the surface. Because this surface is not kind. It's a very smooth surface. This is better. But you can see even this has got a bit of a tooth to it. But even that, look how chalky that looks there. It's not good. So I've got to wait for this to dry, really. It's drying as I'm talking to you right now. And I will get another coat on this, maybe even a third one, to make sure that it's solid and opaque enough. So I'm happy to progress to the next stage. But until I'm happy to progress to the next stage, I will just keep on going, keep on filling it. You can see I'm going over the edges and stuff. Doesn't matter. I'm not looking for perfection right now. I'm just looking to get paint on the surface in roughly the right place. Everything else can be touched up. Because it's paint, this is the beauty of paint generally, whether it's spray paint or paint markers, you can go over what you've done already. You can't do that with alcohol markers. Alcohol, you've got to be a lot more specific. You've got to know exactly what you're going to do, where you're going to do it. It's very unforgiving. These, you can really make a mess, and you go back over it, over it, over it. In my experience, if you get really good paint markers like Molotovs, Poscas, they will cover anything you need them to cover. With that in mind, let's go over this pink again. Right, so there's another coat gone on there, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at going, no, that's still not opaque enough for me. I would like a bit more on there. This pink doesn't cover as well as I hoped it would over the black. Now it's still drying at the moment. It's proving to be a bit tricky. The valve on both these, interestingly, they're okay, the valve on both these particular pens. It's all right, but it's not brilliant. And I am slightly fighting with the pens a little bit. That's the way it goes with paint markers. That's the way it goes. Some of them are better than others. Same as paint. Some of the paint covers better than, you can see how that dark really covers. The pink is a lighter colour. It's not as heavy with pigment, and so it's going to need, for my money, it's going to need another going over. So I'm going to do that once more, and then we'll move on. Right, there we go. That's 3 coats. That's as many as I'm doing. I'm happy with that, pretty much. Don't need to be perfect. So now we're moving on to drop shadows. And I guess it's worth pointing out at this point. So your drop shadow, when you work on different surfaces, is different colours. That may seem obvious to some of you, not obvious to others. So what I mean by that is, you see how I've got a background of white there, and brown there, and pink there. So I need 3 colours for a drop shadow. A darker brown there, a grey there, and a darker pink. If you don't know what I mean, you're about to see. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So on the white, you see there's a little grey drop shadow there. On the pink, there's a darker pink. On the bits of brown, there's a little bit of brown. Oh, I missed a bit there, didn't I? Hang on, I'll do it in real time. Oh, I missed a bit down there as well. Okay, there you go, a bit of brown in there. And then, don't really need another coat there, doesn't really matter. Then a little bit of dark in there. See, again, I might have to go over all these again anyway, so I'm not that bothered about getting perfect. Just need to get in the right place and get the paint on. Once you've got coats of paint on, as long as it's nice and dry, you can go over it. It's getting the paint on in the first place, get it on the surface. That's what you want to do. So you can see that I've got a general shape now. So as soon as this is dry, I'm ready to start outlining. Okay, first outline is on. You can probably see it's a bit messy. This one isn't helping me out at all. This nib is going all over the place. You can probably see that I'm doing a lot of clearing of the nib on a separate piece of paper. That's something you learn along the way, to clear your nib when it gets too much paint on it, or if it gets gummed up with the paint, because what it does, it drags the paint off the surface as well if it's not quite dry, because a lot of this paint, I'm doing it quite quickly, so it's not quite dry, it's a bit tacky. So what happens is the nib drags that tacky paint off the surface, and it gets all gummed up, which is a bit of a pain. But you know, it's early days yet. There's a lot of cleaning up to do. There's a lot more outlining to do. You can see that outline, because it's gone on blue, some of it's even come out sort of greeny colour, so there's more to do yet. Probably another twice over this outline yet. Okay, so now we're getting there. We're getting there, slowly but surely. There's a bit of a nicer outline on there. It still needs a bit of a tidy up, but it's starting to get a bit more solid, a bit more, you know, the colour yellow is more firmly in place now. So probably one more go on the outline, and then I'll get an outline on the bubbles, and then we'll see after that. And then it's time for a clean up. Right, I'm reasonably happy with that outline. It needs a bit of clean up, but that's fine. Bit of clean up is fine. Clean up is the easy bit, really. Getting the colour nice and opaque, that's what you're after. So now I'm going to outline the bubbles. Let's go in. Okay, so I've got the outline of the bubbles now. There's bits I'm not happy with around it, around the whole piece, so I'm going to start tidying up the piece now. Just touch-ups here and there, just to tidy everything up a little bit. Okay, for this next bit, I'll do a bit in real time just to show you. So I'm working with, what is this? Caran d'Ache black, and what I want is my sharpener. Get it nice and sharp. just going to work a fill just from the bottom of these letters, just to darken them in a little tiny bit. I don't know if you can see that well enough or not, what I'm doing there. I'm just working very, very lightly. Very light strokes. I'm stroking up, as you can see. Literally just sort of working upwards with the pencil, going over the same area again and again until I'm happy with the shade. I want it nice and dark at the bottom and fading up. And I'm looking at that thinking that, so there's probably quite a lot of pigment on there, so I'm just going to work it with my finger just to see how it goes. Yeah, that's just smudged it a little tiny bit. So I'm just keeping it dark, getting it dark. Sorry, not keeping it dark, just getting it dark. You'll notice I'm keeping an edge of blue that side and that side. And you can just sort of jam with this, you know, do what you feel as you go. Okay, you can see what I'm up to. I'm going to do that for all of them. Right, that's a bit of pencil on there, just to give it a little bit of texture fill down there. Now I'm going to do some whips and some squiggles, a few highlights, and then we'll be finished. And there we go, there's the finished article, all done. And I'm going to show you all the pens I've used to do this. That's all the Poscas that I used for outlining. Bit of brown shadow, tiny bit of brown shadow on there. And they're the Molotovs. And a black pencil. So that's all them that I've used for that one. Some of it is quite tricky going. What happens is if your Poscas, your outline Poscas, your thin ones, are getting a bit ragged on the tip, they start to become unpredictable. And this black that I put on at the end, it was a bit unpredictable actually. And I should have gone, I don't know if you probably didn't notice on the time lapse, but I've got another one here, which is a brand new one. I should have used this one really because it's got a nice firm tip, whereas mine has got a bit floppy because I've been using it for outline. It's brilliant for outlining. It's great for getting outline on, but it's getting a bit floppy for doing really lovely fine lines. Got away with it there, got away with it there. There, not really. It went a bit funny. I just thought I can't correct that because it's paint. It could go anywhere and everywhere. So don't get involved. Just leave it. it ain't important enough. I could go, if I wanted to, I could go around all the little bits, you know, with blue. Who cares? It's not important enough, is it? It's done. It's finished. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that was a bit instructive. And get some paint markers. Get yourself some nice brown cardboard of this type. Next time you've ordered from Amazon or whatever. And get stuck in.